23 made the hit. The Chiefs have another 4 downs at the 41.
They like Chris Smith. He did a lot more blocking than carrying the ball last week, but he is a versatile back. You see him streaking out to the right side of your picture. Good little pass there by Espinoza, but he picks this up. He knows where he has to get to, and knows where that first down yardage is. Sticks that ball over it.
Smith, that fullback behind Espinoza. He blocked for Greg Bell and Alan Pinkett at Notre Dame. Espinoza underneath to Parker. 45, 50, and close to a first down across the 50 to the Miami 49. Demetrius Johnson with the tackle.
Talking about this Kansas City offense, we saw the regular Kansas City team in their second game in Seattle. They were just not very productive at all. As you watch Espinoza take a shot, as quarterbacks do after they deliver the ball. And Homer Smith, who of course brought this offense with him from UCLA, said we've got about half the offense in, and I think we may have had too much offense earlier in the year.
Short yardage, and it's Smith off tackle for a first down to the Miami 46-yard line on 2nd and inches. Lambrecht and company with the tackle. Well, the quarterback situation after seeing Espinoza take that hit from Victor Morris, with Stevens hurt, and the fact that Sandy Oshesky, who was the other quarterback in camp, is released.
Yes.
They can't afford Espinoza.
There may be somebody out in the lobby calling Oshesky right now.
Trailing 7-0, 2 minutes 10 seconds left in the opening quarter. Kansas City, a first down at the Miami 46. Robert Parker running behind that right side of the line. Picks up a couple. Lambrecht makes still another tackle with Morris collaborating. He's an interesting story. Mike Lambrecht, number 69. His major at St. Cloud State was art and pre-dentistry. Now, that's an interesting combination. He says, I really have been an artist since a junior, and I sold my works, and I sold one to a local dentist. And he's bought more of my work, and he interested me in dentistry. So there's a nice cross section of that relationship. Parker tripped up for a loss, couldn't turn the corner. Demetrius Johnson, former Detroit Lion, made the tackle.
Demetrius Johnson getting more playing time today because of a shoulder injury to Tate Randall, one of the most veteran of the defensive backs of the Miami Dolphins. This play never really gets off. Trying to get a couple of offensive linemen in front of it. Good job on the outside. Who's that? Duke Shamel doing a good job coming up to actually break up the timing of the play, and then Demetrius Johnson, 23, finishing it off with a force from the outside.
3rd and 7. Incomplete. Downfield was Richard Estelle, well covered by Sowell.
Well, that's got to be utter frustration if you're Homer Smith on the sideline. You got a quarterback with a 10 count to throw the football, and you don't have a single wide receiver who can get open. You got to shake your head.
So Kelly Goodburn comes in to punt. He finished his collegiate career at Emporia State after kicking for Iowa State for 4 years. Was student teaching when they rang the bell, and the Chiefs very happy with his punting last week against the Raiders. And a nice easy leg action. Catterbone lets it kick, and it rolls into the end zone for the touchback.
Al Davis said, if you don't sign him, I will. He liked him too.
42 yards on the punt, 22 net. Timeout with 30 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Here at Joe Robbie Stadium, it's the Dolphins 7 and the Chiefs nothing.
It's the Subaru year-end clearance. The greatest Subaru deals in Subaru history. Stupendous Subaru savings. Hold it.
Instead of a great deal of hype, Subaru gives you a great deal. Up to $1,500 factory cash back or 3.9% financing. Great deals on just about every model, including a wide range of Subarus under $10,000. Up to $1,500 back or 3.9%. With cars and deals that good, you don't have to shout.
There's a vacancy at the Bates Motel.
Norman, is that you?
No, it's
Buzz McKenzie, and it could be you. Look for this display and enter Bud Light Psycho Sweepstakes to win a Bud Light party with Spud McKenzie at the Psycho Mansion. You can even get a mug like Spud's at participating retailers. Wow!
That Spud is so cool, it's scary.
Performance. For some people, it's more than a passion. It's a way of life. Well, for all those people for whom good enough just isn't good enough, there's Speed Stick Antiperspirant. Nothing is wider. Nothing glides on drier. Nothing gives you all-day protection in a bigger way. All-day performance that's unbeatable. If you're going to give 110%, your antiperspirant should give 110% too. Speed Stick, the white stick.
By Menon.
Next Sunday, the NFL plays here when the Dolphins battle the Jets.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
57-year-old Don Shula. That jaw of his, it symbolizes the toughness of the man. And what a coach. You talk to some of the veterans who have migrated to Miami on these replacement teams. George Farmer, for one, he said, just amazed at how hard he works. He's in on every meeting. He knows what everyone is doing. This is Isom, the touchdown maker earlier, and he's bumped out of bounds.
Mask,
but
yeah. You saw them reaching for the face mask right there. Pardon me, Dick. That was Jack Epps, 25, I think, that got his hand up into the mask, and the official down the line, the linesman quickly throwing that flag. Yeah, side judge actually the one that called it.
See if it's a 5 or a 15. Apparently,
personal foul.
That's
15-yard face mask. Yep. Number 25 defense.
Brings back some bitter memories for Shula.
NBC News correspondent Robert Lipsyte is standing by. Let's go to him now. Robert.
Discussions have been recessed. As you all know, we started these meetings this past Tuesday after the player rep meeting in Chicago. Gene and I spoke, and I came to Washington here and met with Gene. As a matter of fact, the first couple of days I met in Gene's house. We moved the negotiations over to this hotel after we were discovered. In the first 2 or 3 days, we reached some agreements on what I'd call the minor issues. We had reached agreement early on in June on the retention of benefits because neither party had opened to change that provision of the contract. We subsequently reached agreements on seven other areas. Most of the agreements were going back to the old book or the current book. That is, no change. In a couple of areas, we made changes. In the club discipline area, in the union security area, we made some changes. For the last couple of days, there hasn't been any movement, any agreements made. Yesterday, we met for about an hour and a half. And the union, Gene, gave us a proposal on the system. We had a discussion about that proposal. In our opinion, in my opinion, what it does is it maintains the labels that we currently have, like right of first refusal and compensation, but does away with our compensation system. Our compensation system is based on balance. I mean, you know, our league is based on balance. What they propose, as you all know, who have heard the discussions yesterday, is to take and base compensation on the player's last contract rather than, as it currently is, on a new offer. This, in fact, does away with compensation. Most of you know we had proposed also an entry-level wage scale. The union was not opposed to our entry-level wage scale. They wanted to make sure that the, quote, money saved would go to the vested veteran. If you take a look at our entry-level wage scale, there would be no player coming out in the second year, henceforth and forward, who would qualify for any compensation. So, I mean, I thought, and I asked Gene today, I said, I don't know if you guys think you're being clever or cute, but what you've done is your proposal eliminates, for all intents and purposes, our compensation system, or so drastically reduces it, it just takes it all out of the competitive, the balance aspects. Today, we met yesterday. We were supposed to start at 9 o'clock, and that meeting was rolled till 1 because Gene was meeting with his actuary. So I tried to get, and that was to have some explanations of our pension and severance in terms of monies and how it would apply. We had that meeting today. We met for, I don't know, 2.5 to 3 hours. And the whole meeting was an explanatory meeting so that the technicians would understand what we were doing in the pension and severance area. Thereafter, Gene and I had a short meeting, maybe 10 minutes, in which I asked him if he was really serious about his proposal on the system. I asked him that as well yesterday, and he said he was. And, in my opinion, at this point in time, there isn't anything else to say. We're disappointed. I had hoped that, we would be moving towards a resolution. I guess I don't see that at this point in time, and it's as frustrating for me as that I know it is for all of you people. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you people have.
Where will you get back?
I have no idea.
Why not stay anyway and continue working through other articles?
Well, we've done that. We've gone through, I think we've gone through just about every single article, and we seem to be, we seem to be stopped in a number of areas. We've got the issue in the pension of contributory versus benefit, in addition to the, so we've gone through them. In the last, since Thursday, we have gone through the items on a fairly regular basis without any resolution. So I mean, just all you're doing is going over further entrenching yourself in positions that you had before.
You weren't close on others in addition to the 8 that have been signed off on?
Oh, I thought we get close on a lot of them, but we get close and just get stagnant, and we just stay there. But the ones we're close on are, again, other items that you wouldn't consider to be deal breakers. I mean, we're close on injury grievances. Or non-injury grievances. We may be close on injury grievances. I mean, these aren't things that after, 3 weeks of a strike you'd call deal breakers. I mean, that's just a fact of life. So.
Are we right back at square one on free agency?
Oh yeah, that proposal is, that proposal to us is a proposal which, for all intents and purposes, destroys the balance, and for the most part eliminates compensation. So, I mean, what they're doing is taking the heart out of our system.
Isn't the next movie, when's the time for you to make your next proposal?
Well, we've told them from the beginning that we wanted to maintain the right of first refusal and compensation. We didn't care about the names. We're not trying to put labels on it. I don't think that we should be preserving the label and throwing the system out. And I think that's what their proposal basically does.
Does that mean you're sticking to your entry-level wage?
You've heard it. Back to you, Len.
In other words, isn't that subject to...
Okay, thank you. Robert Lipside, NBC News correspondent there. You've heard talks have broken off. No idea when they will resume talking. The free agency issue still the sticking point. Will the floodgates now open for players? What will television ratings be? Will the networks continue to televise? All questions. We don't have answers yet. We'll be...
It's funny. When I tell people I really do use Prel, they don't believe me. They think that because I'm a model, I have a bathroom full of hairdressers or something. The truth is, I really love what it does to my hair. It gives my hair body and fullness. You really should try it yourself. You'll love it. And if you don't, they'll give you your money back. Your hair's worth at least that, right?
Excuse me, are you the Milton Pitts?
You found him.
Terrific. You're called Washington's official barber because you shave everyone from senators to cabinet members.
Just take a look at that wall, son.
Milton, what do you shave these powerful men with, huh?
A Bic shaver.
Bic? Not your barber's razor?
That's history. Bic is the best darn shaver I've ever used.
Okay, now who's that getting shaved with Bic?
Just look for the best shaved senator on the next debate.
The Bic shaver. If it's good enough for Milton, it's good enough for you.
Every day, millions of batteries die an early death. They die in flashlights, cameras, radios, simply because they lost some life waiting to be bought. But only new Duracell battery packs have a freshness date that guarantees they'll live a long life, not a short one. Freshness dating from Duracell.
The memories are waiting. Next.
At the old ball game.
Welcome back. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen at Joe Robbie Stadium north of Miami. The Dolphins leading 7-0 while we were away for that report on the strike situation. The Dolphins made several good plays and several bad ones. They had a 17-yard completion to David Lewis, another 22-yarder to Lawrence Sampleton, both called back by penalties and penalized back to their own 20-yard line. Finally, the punt that has just occurred, Stacy Gore, a 43-yard punt in Kansas City early in the second quarter, 13 minutes left in the half, has the ball at the 35 of the Chiefs, trailing 7-0. You didn't miss much except a lot of yellow flags. Espinoza almost had his head taken off and throws that one up for grabs. Hobley has it at the 50 to the 48. Lifford Hobley from LSU.
It's what happens when you slide down to a number 2 quarterback and you get some heat on him. Espinoza trying to throw it out. Duke Shamel, number 60, putting the heat on him.
So the Dolphins have the ball on the interception by Hobley. 12:56 left in the half.
Most of the time, I smell pretty good. Deodorant under each arm, aftershave, cologne. Hey, the last thing I need in this job is body odor. But sometimes, in the heat of competition, things get a little close. I'm glad I use Safeguard every day. It's not just a cover-up. Safeguard helps protect against the bacteria that causes body odor. Plain soap can't. With Safeguard on my side, those little bacteria hardly stand a chance. Neither does the competition.
Why is this man breathing like he left his cold at someone else's house? Taking the time to read a book instead of reaching for a tissue. Relaxing in his favorite chair with muscles that no longer ache. Laughing instead of coughing. Resting instead of suffering. Why? Because instead of taking a cold tablet, he took NyQuil. A nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine. Now in new cherry flavor, too.
Here's Jerry with a new car.
What'd you pay for it?
About $5,500.
Are you kidding?
Does it run on batteries?
What's it made of? Crepe paper?
Does it have a motor? Does it have a motor?
Can I kick the tires?
Will the door come off the hinges?
Hey, guess what? It's a Subaru!
Oh, a Subaru!
Subaru!
Only one inexpensive car is built like a Subaru. Introducing the Subaru Justy. Inexpensive and built to stay that way.
Such a smart boy. Oh.
Today's game is being brought to you by Subaru and by Prel Shampoo and Prel Conditioner, the unbeatable bodybuilding system for your hair. Beautiful new Joe Robbie Stadium, the scene, and it's bright orange and aqua blue, and Lifford Hobley, the only player on either side to cross the strike lines, has the interception, the first turnover of this game, and Miami takes charge at the 49 of Kansas City, leading 7-0. And after this play, Merlin, get your reaction to the press conference involving the breaking off of negotiations between management and players of the NFL. Mackey drills it incomplete down at the 34-yard line.
Dick, I would simply say I hope that there is an opportunity for the NFLPA to respond to that. What you heard was the owner's position, pure and simple, painted in the very nicest terms that they could paint it in, and I'm sure terms that would be argued by Gene Upshaw and the NFLPA. Not our job really to go through the issues, except to say that it's important that people listen to both sides in a situation like this. One other thing I want to say after we come back from this play.
The toss to Ronald Scott, and Scott picks up about 7 to the 42-yard line. Former back with the Southern University Jaguars.
The NFL Management Council talks so casually, Dick, about entry-level pay for seniors coming out of college into the NFL. That would be $60,000 for a first-year player, $70,000 for a second-year player, asking the Players Association to bargain away in perpetuity the bargaining rights of every young man who has a chance to play professional football. I really think that's disgusting.
But how do you really feel about it? Come right out and say it now.
I don't think that's fair to the kids who want to play this game. I really don't.
3rd down and 3. Incomplete is Mackey, and they're out of field goal range. Well, the difficulty in trying to look through the window from outside or putting your ear against the wall is we really don't know what is happening in those negotiations. Dallas big ahead of Philadelphia, no surprise there. New England still leading by a touchdown. Houston, winner last week at Denver, has a 7-3 lead. Here at 7-0 Miami. Fair catch by Montagna at the 14-yard line, and Kansas City will begin from that spot after a 28-yard punt by Stacy Gore. 11:52 remaining in the first half.
A6, hurry and you'll make it.
Delta Airlines ticket agent Sam Singletary knows how to get people moving.
Mr. Franklin, your bag.
But sometimes he has to show off a few moves of his own. The kind of moves that made him a first-string halfback. Sam Singletary shares a feeling with everyone at Delta. He loves what he's doing, and it shows.
We have to fly.
He's the king.
And it shows. All the right parts in all the right places. Napa's putting smiles on American faces.
Don't miss our biggest sale of the year. It's Car Care Days at your Napa Auto Parts store. Just about everything you need to keep your car in great shape is on sale now. Get special prices on quality Napa parts. Check your local newspaper for sale items at your Napa Auto Parts store and save at our Car Care Days sale.
All the right parts in all the right places. Napa.
Whatever happened to real food? You know the kind that just tastes real good. Go on a dinner I can't pronounce. By the ounce. Whatever happened to real food? You know the kind that just tastes real good. Give me a steak and I want me blue. I got a taste for some real food.
Thief, real food for real people.
The memories are waiting. Next.
At the old ball game.
Stay with us on NBC Sports after our NFL coverage. It's the Cardinals and Giants. They're down to a 3-game series, tied at 2 each after the Giants' 4-2 win at Candlestick yesterday. Right after football, the first of our baseball doubleheader, the playoff series on NBC. Chris Smith, the former Notre Dame blocker, brought down by Derek Wimberly, who played at Purdue just across the state. That state buzzing, the Hoosier State today. Purdue a winner over Illinois, and Indiana with eyebrow-raising upset at Columbus against Ohio State. 2nd down and 4 for the Chiefs. Robert Parker. And the Chiefs have not been able to go wide on the Miami defense. Duke Shamel makes another good defensive stop.
Tom Olivedade, the defensive coordinator of these Dolphins, right there in the headset, tucked in. Watch him as he makes his signals here. Now, you see him pushing people back right there? Now, he's going to make his signal. Last week, in the Miami game, he was trying to push people back and inadvertently called a blitz, because that was also a blitz signal. It turned out that it was a costly call because the Seahawks scored a touchdown. And I asked him, I said, why didn't you blitz more? He said, we did 3 times. They had 2 completions for 10 and 15 yards and a touchdown for 25.
Catch by David Montagna, and he struggles out to the 25-yard line. And that'll be close to a first down. We welcome those of you who have been watching the Tampa Bay-San Diego game. We understand we're having some technical difficulties up at Tampa Bay. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen here at the new Joe Robbie Stadium north of Miami, where the Dolphins, on a 6-yard run by Ricky Isom, have a 7-0 lead early in the second period. 10 minutes and 10 seconds left in this quarter. It is a first down for Kansas City. They're working with Alex Espinoza, the quarterback, for injured Matt Stevens. Stevens a bruised shoulder in the first quarter. Matt Smith plowing straight ahead to the 29-yard line. 240-pounder. Lambrecht and Wimberly in the center of the Dolphin defense with a tackle.
Of course, the simplest thing to do, if you can do it, is run right up the gut. Neither team has really had great success, although Miami did score its touchdown going up inside. There's Glenn Hyde, 55, locked up on Lambrecht. And when I said locked up, I meant it. There are two hands full of jersey there.
You're gonna need a fire hose to separate them. Hyde with still another team in his long journeys through professional football. Espinoza to Ken Lacey. Lacey, number 40 from Tulsa, who's had some NFL experience with the Chiefs in '84 and '85, played a couple of years with the Michigan Panthers of the USFL, and last week had a disastrous day at the Coliseum against the Raiders when twice on 1st and goal at the Raider 1 he fumbled the ball away.
That will not endear you to a coach.
That's why we didn't see him much in the first quarter. 3rd and 2, Kansas City. 75,000 seat Joe Robbie Stadium, and the folks that have come out to cheer the Dolphins making some noise now. Over the middle, incomplete, intended for the tight end Rod Jones, and Espinoza feeling the pressure of Dennis Folks, number 52.
Dick, it would seem to me, just looking down, that these players are more sluggish. In particular, of course, we have a common denominator, having watched Miami last week against Seattle. They look more sluggish to me, and that doesn't surprise me in a way, because last week they were working off practices. They had not played a game, and I think that game took a lot out of them physically. They have had to continue their practicing, continue their conditioning, and recover from the game at the same time.
Kelly Goodburn, this not a good kick, a wobbler that'll take a Kansas City bounce past Mike Catterbone, and he'll have to let it roll to the 18-yard line. So not a strong kick in the air by Goodburn, but he gets a kind roll. And with 8 minutes and 23 seconds left in the second quarter, we have a timeout. Miami Dolphins leading the Kansas City Chiefs by a touchdown.
It's the Subaru year-end clearance. The greatest Subaru deals in Subaru history. Stupendous Subaru savings.
Hold it! Instead of a great deal of hype, Subaru gives you a great deal. Up to $1,500 factory cash back or 3.9% financing. Great deals on just about every model, including a wide range of Subarus under $10,000. Up to $1,500 back or 3.9%. With cars and deals that good, you don't have to shout.
Hey, how you doing? Good. In fact, I feel like light. Hey. What the? Uh-oh. Oh, I am so. Oh, no. Well, I meant Bud Light.
If you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, ask for Bud Light, because everything else...
You all right? Sure, just a little lightheaded.
It's just a light.
I'd no sooner settle for a flake in my hair than a spot on my uniform.
You pass the test, your good grooming has the look of success. Your head and shoulders above the rest.
Regular shampoos just rinse flakes. Head and Shoulders goes to the source to help stop flakes. And that's doing it right.
Your head and shoulders above the rest.
Raquel Welch, as you never thought you'd see her. Her family's love gave her the strength and courage to ask for the right to die. Monday.
Welcome back to South Florida, where the Dolphins lead 7-0. With the breaking off of negotiations today, Merlin, now Wednesday next becomes maybe the most important day of this entire season.
It really does, and it's such a hard time for the player who has been willing to give up 3 game checks now, and with really not much chance to ever get that money back. I think we will see a lot of players coming back in, but there are going to be a lot of players who are really angry as well. And I think there will be some who are willing to stay out until this is resolved.
I think on the other hand, there might be entire teams that will cross, that have stuck together and will come back in unison if. Taliaferri weaving his way across the 20 to the 21-yard line. Short yardage, 3 on the play.
We had a chance to take a peek on the sideline, the far side. Matt Stevens, the quarterback that was injured in the first quarter, and of course A quarterback that there he is in the jacket, and you see him. They have strapped that arm down. Would look to be a shoulder separation possibly, and Stevens, I'm sure, just terribly discouraged. He wants to play the game, likes playing the game, and of course had his opportunity here, but you won't see him the rest of this day for sure.
Mackey on 2nd and 7, batted in the air. 97 Ken Johnson, the veteran former Buffalo Bill from Knoxville College. He was this shows you how far back. We don't have many old players in this game, but you can trace Johnson's career back to 1979 when he was a pick by Buffalo from the O.J. Simpson deal.
The O.J. Simpson deal. Boy, that one was a while back, and you saw the bat away right there. Good job of getting those hands up and knocking that football away.
3rd and 7, Johnson, 32 years old. Some of that experience that Frank Gans was looking for in the defensive line. Mackey, wide open. Taliaferri, first down at the 35-yard line. 15 on the play.
Just as an ad, if you will, to as you watch that pass thrown outside, and lots of room on the outside for Taliaferri, who made some big catches last week. Ken Johnson, I talked to him this morning early, and he said he's been helping to coach. He's the defensive coordinator on a football team at the Job Corps Center in Knoxville, Tennessee. He said, boy, I hope my boys won. He said, I didn't have a chance to check it out.
Ball at the 36-yard line for Mackey and the Dolphins with less than 7 minutes left in the half. He sends one up for Eddie Chavis, incomplete. Trent Bryant, 45 on the coverage.
That number 85 ordinarily worn here in Miami by Mark Duper. And I asked Chavis, I said, does it bother you to wear that number? He said, I didn't really like it when they gave it to me. He said, I was in camp and I was wearing another number. I think he had 14 on in camp earlier. But he said, I've adjusted to it now. But I don't, he obviously has feelings for Mark Duper. There's Mackey watching that ball, knowing there was a chance at it. Well, what do I do?
Little draw play, and Ronald Scott up the middle across the 40, 5 or 6 yards on the play. For these players, it has been a tumultuous time in many ways. They are working in almost Spartan conditions. For the Dolphins, they're staying right on campus where they practice. They really are almost in a they're concentrating in a camp, let's put it that way. And for Kansas City, they are bussed at 7:30 in the morning. They don't get home till 8 at night, and they sleep, and they're right back on the bus out to the workouts.
One of the guys told me this morning, the Kansas City players, whoa, here we go.
Konechny. That's a new play for the Dolphins that Don Shula inserted into his plan, and it works for 18 yards.
Little draw play to Konechny. Kansas City trying to get the blitz going here. The linebacker stuffed up the middle, and all kinds of room for Konechny. 92 Bob Harris trying to come over. Harrell, number 50, trying to get over there. Nobody even close, and Konechny has the biggest gain of the day on the ground for either team.
And his first carry of the day, Konechny from Alma College in Michigan. First down, Kansas City 40-yard line, 5.5 remaining in the first half, and the ball deflected again. It appeared to be either Chris Lindstrom or Lloyd Mumphrey that got a hand on it.
Dick, I was talking to John Paul Young, who's the defensive coordinator of this Kansas City team, and he said, we've had a lot of strange kids in camp. He said, we had one kid came in and they asked him what he was, and he said he's a linebacker. They said inside or outside. He said, is there a difference?
That's a bad answer.
He's not there anymore. There's John Paul Young on the right-hand side, right center of your screen.
Full house blitz, and it goes to Sampleton for short yardage. Jack Epps made the tackle at the 35-yard line as Mackey went down hard.
There's been some talk of retaliation on quarterbacks by players coming back in. Montana crossed the line, White crossed the line in Dallas. You got a couple other quarterbacks. This is the area, the one place where if I were a quarterback and I'd cross the line, that's where I'd worry. Because when I was standing there and the play was over, there are a lot of guys that have a chance to run over me. And knowing how many quarterbacks I ran over, I really think I could have hurt a number of them had I wanted to injure them in a situation like that.
Leland Douglas breaking free and a first down at the 18. And it appears that Mackey may have hit his hand against a helmet. He's holding his left wrist, or maybe that's now feeling the pain from the play before. He's hurting.
Not his throwing hand. I don't think he'll worry about him. He'll shake it off.
17 yards on the throw to Leland Douglas.
Let's see if we can see what happened to Mackey on that play. He has time.
And nothing there.
Maybe a cramp. Maybe a cramp in his wrist.
Oops, the Chiefs are offside. And contact made before the snap. Jack Epps coming up from a safety position.
Epps trying to time out the blitz.
25 feet.
Oh, 5 yards. We'll take it inside the 15. That's the first penalty on this drive. Epps, who played at Kansas State.
I think if you could climb inside Frank Gans's head on the far side of the field, you'd say, he'd be saying to himself, listen, we got all the problems we need trying to install. You watch Epps there as he's just there early and couldn't stop himself. He's trying to install a new offense and a new defense and trying to get a staff and players together in his first year as a head coach. He didn't really need this strike, I'll tell you. Hardest on a first-year coach who hasn't got anything to lean back on.
Mackey incomplete at the goal line, trying to hit number 85, Eddie Chavis.
Trent Bryant, a nice play on the far side. Bryant, with 4 years of NFL experience, really started playing football way back in 1981. And one of the things you'll learn is how to time out that hit. Watch him here, coming up inside just as the ball arrives. Perfectly timed to make it almost impossible for that ball to be caught by Chavis.
2nd down and 5, Miami, trying to build on its 7-0 lead. Ball at the 13-yard line. This is the 11th play of the drive. Up the middle goes Taliaferri, but it didn't fool Kansas City this time. James Harrell around the ball. Harrell, who played with the Lions and was the number 2 tackler in the Detroit defense last year, and yet released by the Lions, as Darrell Rogers going with youth up in the Motor City area. Former high schooler at Tampa. Harrell migrating back to Florida to play on this replacement squad, or actually migrating this week here to Florida as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. 3 tight ends, and it's Ronald Scott. Stopped just shy of the goal line. A good open field tackle by Epps to save the touchdown, but it's 1st and goal Miami, 2 yards from another touchdown.
Kansas City was concerned about the depth and the ability of the running backs for the Dolphins. A number of these backs in camp. You watch the toss here. Ricky Isom out in front. A block right there. A nice block by number 20 Isom. 33 Ronald Scott. Both of those guys in shoeless camp earlier this year, so they're comfortable in the system.
Clarence Bailey joins Ronald Scott behind Mackey. This is Scott. Touchdown.
Clarence Bailey, number 38. Good block as he opens the way for number 33, Ronald Scott. Scott knew what to do with it. Dumps it into the end zone.
Al Scott, like all of these players, hanging on to that football after the touchdown.
They're going to run out. I hope they added an extra supply.
Willie Beecher's try for point is right down the middle. And with just under 3 minutes left in the first half, the Miami Dolphins have a 14-0 lead. Ronald Scott was in Los Angeles working for a trucking company before the strike. He had 55 yards last week running against the Seattle Seahawks and 31 yards today. You say that, Merlin, there were times in your career where you knew you had a quarterback in the crossfire, and you could have.
A vulnerable position.
And do you, I mean, the players deny they ever tried to hurt a quarterback. Would you confirm that?
Well, I think that certainly was true for me, but I can go back to an NFL game, and I won't tell you the coach, but I will tell you the quarterback. My coach told me to put John Brody out of the game, told the whole defensive line to take Brody out of the game. Our quarterback had been cheap shot, knocked out of the game, and he said, go get Brody. In fact, the term used was Bootsy Brody, which is an old New York Giant term. I guess that meant to stomp him. But I got to tell you that the fearsome foursome, as fearsome as we were, we looked at each other and knew that that's not something we could do. That was not something that we could just go out there and take Brody's legs out from underneath him, and we didn't do it.
Besides, John could really run fast.
Listen, my 10-year-old, my son, when he was 10, could run faster than Brody in his prime.
We're going to have to offer Brody equal time here next week. Smith fumbles the kickoff. And Blaine Smith struggles to get back across the 15-yard line. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Miami Dolphins and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, the Dolphins, and the Chiefs, all rights reserved. Well, 20 years from now, you'll open up a program for the Miami Dolphins. You'll see first touchdown scored in Joe Robbie Stadium back in 1987. Well, Ricky Isom will be the first rushing. Robert Parker stacked up again. We have not had a passing touchdown yet, and somehow it just seems wrong that if we have one, it isn't Dan Marino who's on the throwing end, because this house was really built for him.
It definitely was. The other thing we'll look back through the history books at this last weekend, not this weekend. When was the last time that Tampa Bay, Green Bay, the Saints, the Colts, and the Oilers all won on the same weekend?
I need some time to look that one up. Timeout, 2:23 left in the half.
I've been an executive in the oil business for more than 20 years. I've always been hardworking, and I love honest competition. But you know, when I'm on the road, the thing that's uppermost in my mind is my family. I'm on the phone with my wife, Betty, and my kids all the time. I've got 6 of them, and they truly are the joy of my life. I love my family, and that's why I care about the kind of community they're going to live in. That's why I'm part of the United Way leadership team that's helping to solve people's problems in my community.
United Way services all kinds of people.
I think that's an extremely... I'm a pretty busy guy, but I always find the time to take in an NFL game on the weekend.
This is my favorite occupation.
I'm Gene Barth, an NFL referee. I've always been a professional on the field, and I try to be a professional in my community. Among my colleagues in the NFL, you'll find doctors, teachers, lawyers, but they're all part of the NFL family on game day.
The United Way. It brings out the best in all of us. This message furnished by the National Football League.
Kyle Mackey, the quarterback for the Dolphins, on the phones upstairs, going over formations and plays that he might use in the final minutes or seconds of this first half. There's Scott Stankiewicz, his backup, number 14. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs are down to 1 healthy quarterback, with starter Matt Stevens out with a shoulder injury. Alex Espinoza, 23-year-old rookie, at the helm. 2nd down and 10. It's Parker again. Not much there as Parker squeaks it out to the 20-yard line. Dennis Folks leading the defensive charge.
A good block by number 62, Jim Peterzak, and we've talked about his exploits. One day of practice last week. Number 62, the center. Watch this as he peels back and does a good job of blocking. And I asked him, I said, how could you do it with one day practice? He said, I got a lot of help. But he said, when I got back home, he said, I'm the brokerage manager for Jackson National Life. He said, the national sales manager had heard about this, and he said, how many Jim Peterzaks are there? Is that our guy? And he said, they were kind of upset. Called the chairman of the board, and he said, they finally said, it's okay if you go back this week. He said, Kansas City expressed to me, the air expressed the plays down to me, so at least this time I had plays to look at. And he said, I think I'm better equipped this week, but he's got to go back and go to work again in New Orleans.
You were looking at Charles Bennett of the Dolphins, and of course that story relating to Jim Peterzak, 62 of Kansas City. Peterzak, whose insurance company right outside of New Orleans, in Kenner, Louisiana. Maybe we can help him out with a sailor to at least the contact.
I'm a brokerage manager for an insurance company, and I haven't played football since 1984.
Got a phone call from Karl Mock of the Kansas City Chiefs. He said, hey, you want to play one game? I said, great, I have an opportunity to live the American dream over again. Played last week against the Raiders. Thought I was done. Tuesday, get a phone call. Karl Mock one more time. So you can give it one more opportunity? I said, certainly. I'll give it a go. Flew in this afternoon. I picked up my plays. Going to study most of the night. And again, live the American dream.
That, of course, was taped yesterday. There's Peter Zach, a true weekend warrior.
That's amazing. Because that's exactly what I was going to say. New definition for the term weekend warrior.
You've always kind of applauded that approach, haven't you? That you think that maybe sometimes we spend too much time in athletics. Maybe that's a little extreme.
I think it is a bit extreme.
Espinoza into a crowd, and a flag goes down. I believe we're going to have interference. Scott Nicholas tipped the ball. Stein Koss was the intended receiver, number 80, the tight end, and he's not getting up. Oh, it's the other way. Koss apparently was pushing.
Let's see if we can see
Pass
what happened.
interference, number 80 offense. Penalty decline, 4th down.
Well, that's a double penalty. You injured on the play, and you pick up the penalty as well.
Number 80, Stein Koss, the tight end out of Arizona State. He's tickled to be back here just to have another chance to play. And, ooh, you can see why he was hurting as he took an excellent shot by Demetrius Johnson, number 23. He is still on the ground. But, Dick, you contrast Peter Zach's situation to that of the other Kansas City Chiefs who've been in meetings for about 5 hours a day, on the field 3 times a day. And I was talking to a few of them this morning, and they said, we feel like monks. And another guy at the side of the table said, celibate monks. He said, they don't even let us out of this. They lock us up 7:30 in the morning till about 8 o'clock at night. They have really been working hard. The man you saw on the side of your screen there was Karl Mock. There's the leader, Gans, who has wanted this replacement team to try and do as well as it can, as all NFL coaches do, because if these games are going to count as much as the other games, and they certainly appear to be adamant on that, it's going to be a part of your record that you can't get away from.
There's Karl Mock, who enticed Peter Zach, his old buddy, to come back and play. And just to show you the dilemma that Gans and the Chiefs are in, and it's true throughout the league, and that, for that matter, Peter Zach has played 126 games prior to this year in the NFL. The other 10 starters for the Chiefs today, prior to the strike, had combined zero games experience. Goodburn to punt. Catterbone at the other end. He drives this one. Catterbone kicking it back to the 25. And out of bounds at the 35 and a flag down. I think everyone in Joe Robbie Stadium saw that clip. 56 yards on the punt. Stein Koss apparently okay. The 2-minute timeout, we're already down to 1:48 with the length of that play. So as soon as they decide on the penalty, then the timeout will be called.
Well, I think it's obviously an illegal block against the receiving team here, and that moves them back even further. A playoff timing like that frequently will bring that, and you saw the ball kicked away. Everything is thrown out of kilter, and someone looking for numbers on the front suddenly finds the back instead.
Illegal block during the return.
It'll be 10 more yards.
And I think it's
against the Dolphins.
A second penalty. There were 2 penalties, a holding call and an illegal block, and we obviously are having some trouble with the field mic of our referee, and we'll try and get that repaired.
Timeout. Miami leading by 2 touchdowns.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents Legends of the Game. They called him the Stork, and he used his massive size to be an all-pro for the Colts, Packers, and Raiders. As a stellar defensive end, he set an NFL record with 4 career safeties. Who was this legend?
In the past 2 years, 500,000 more Americans switched to Liberty Mutual for their auto, home, and life insurance. More Americans are living in homes, getting into cars, And for workers' compensation, more American workers are insured by Liberty Mutual than anyone else. Because Liberty Mutual people do the job right.
America believes in liberty. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Ted the Stork Hendricks starred in 4 Super Bowls, but it was his maniacal style that earned him status as a legend of the game.
When you bite Dentyne, that snappy flavor bites you back. And that tingle freshens your breath. Dentyne, the gum that bites you back.
Winter allergies and colds, the sneezing and congestion can make you feel miserable. For relief, discover Benadryl Decongestant, combining Benadryl with the decongestant found in the leading cold medication, Benadryl Decongestant.
It's America's Day at the races. The Breeders' Cup, coming November 21st to NBC.
With Bob Costas off working the playoff series, Len Berman hosting NFL Live with Ahmad and Paul and Joe Namath, a special in-studio guest today. It'll be interesting to get their comments at halftime, along with all the scores around the National Football League, and then, of course, the 2 playoff series games, the National League right after our coverage, and then the American League.
Interesting piece of protective equipment worn by James Harrell, the linebacker.
Mackey screens it to Konechny, and he fights out to the 25-yard line.
Number 50, James Harrell, played his football in Detroit, an experienced linebacker. He's got about 8 years in the NFL, but he wasn't there quick enough on that play.
No huddle, and Mackey again, the 3rd time, and this time it was Lindstrom, number 60, leaping to deflect the pass. The 3rd deflected by the Chiefs today. Lindstrom, whose brother played with Kansas City and now has a fast food business about to open in the Kansas City area. Dave, who played from 1978 through 1985 with the Chiefs. .124 left in the first half. Miami leads 14-0. Deep down the middle to Douglas, and he's jarred free at the 47-yard line. 49, Ted Nelson, teaming with Jack Epps. And Epps is slow getting up.
Very slow getting up. He was in an awkward position as there was quite a collision of the 3 players, and Epps still on the ground. They're calling an official timeout for him. Chance to watch that play unfold. A good pass by Mackey. And as Dick said earlier in the game, we've been impressed with the strength of his arm. That ball right on target.
So with the timeout as they attend to the safety of Kansas City, 1:18 left in the first half.
More and more men are keeping their bodies in shape. Their faces, too. Shaving's rough on your face. So every day, after every shave, splash on Skin Bracer. Skin Bracer cools, soothes, tightens pores.
That's the tingle. Smells great, too.
But Skin Bracer's not cologne. It's skin care you need. That's why more men are saying...
Thanks. I needed that.
Skin Bracer takes care of men who take care of their skin. Skin Bracer Aftershave.
By men.
Epps still on the field. It would appear that he cut the area above his eye, I think above his right eye, that in that collision. You see the trainer there, and that is not ketchup on that towel. I'll tell you, the one thing I have been impressed with in these games, it's very obvious that the quality of football is not up to what we have come to expect from the NFL. But there is no lack of effort. These guys are giving it everything they've got.
They've done their homework. They've worked hard. They've practiced hard, extraordinarily so in that regard, to try to be ready. And boy, every coach has said, talk about attentiveness. And to go in a room when you've got everyone's attention focused on you. They're coming after Gore. Gets out a good end-over-end kick to Montagna. Out to the 44-yard line. So Kansas City, as the clock stopped with 1:07 left in the half, a chance to try to get something on the board. Scott Nicholas just signed by Miami a couple of days ago. Former Cleveland Browns special teamer and captain made the tackle as they work on the injury to young Jack Epps. Philadelphia answers back in the second quarter. We'll have all the scores, highlights at halftime. Espinoza, the quarterback for Kansas City, under pressure again, and down he goes for the third time. Boy, that defensive line just pushed the entire Kansas City offense back into the quarterback's lap, and Lambrecht led the charge. He's only 6 feet tall, 270 pounds.
Well, they'd love to stretch him a couple inches too. I'm sure that's one of the things that has hurt him in his evaluation as an NFL prospect.
Got everything else. Pass a little short, and a good catch by Ralph Stockamer, who's saying some of his first duty. He's from Baylor University. 35 seconds. Kansas City in the hurry-up offense, trailing 14-0. Final seconds of this first half. 3rd and 15, +1. Fourth sack of the Kansas City quarterback. Stanley Scott, who played at Florida State, registers this one.
And the thing that's interesting about it, those sacks have come from the defensive linemen. They are beating that Kansas City offensive line up front, man-to-man, one-on-one. Let's look at the pressure. So quick on the quarterback Espinoza, he has no time here. You can see the depth by the defensive end on this side. Scott, he just goes right around that offensive tackle and pushes his way on in there. That's Hoppick, I believe, trying to keep him out of there. Not able to do much to slow him down at all.
Frank Gans pondering all the possibilities as he has to look ahead to the oration at halftime. As he said, well, we'll not mention the name, no need to embarrass the athlete, but he said last week in the loss to the Raiders, one of his linemen coming off the field, and he said, I was shouting at him, can't you run any faster than that? And one of his assistants said, no, coach, he can't.
That's the best he could do, and so he said, good play, good play. He's had to change gears, and that is tough for them. They have come to expect a great deal of their athletes, and in some cases, these guys are giving it all they got. It's not quite up to speed. That's it. That's the throttles all the way to the floor.
15 seconds, so Miami will go after this punt. Only Catterbone back.
Ooh.
And he kicks it out of bounds, and the flag goes down. And now there were only about 4 linemen downfield, and of course that will be the penalty, but the Dolphins will take the play because they're going to get the ball almost in field goal range with 8 seconds left.
And then ineligible, as you expected. And if you're wondering why they didn't get a roughing the kicker call, when the ball is snapped that badly, the kicker is running for his life. He loses much of his protection. As you can see here, he is no longer a kicker when he leaves unless he can stop and set up as an ordinary kicker would. They've got to believe there that he has the ability to run, and they're treating him as a runner rather than a kicker. So there's no call for the roughing.
1 yard on the punt. Goodburn, a good effort to extricate himself after the bad snap, but then couldn't get anything on it.
I think, unfortunately, that Glenn Hyde was the man who snapped that ball. Lumpy's not doing a very good job of getting that ball back on those long snaps.
So Miami, with a 14-0 lead, would like to get 10, 15-yard pass away, stop the clock, and at least give themselves a chance at a field goal to pad that lead. Mackey to the sidelines. What a catch by Damian Riley. No, they say out of bounds.
A question of where the shoulder or the arm hit. Let's see, Riley stretching all the way out horizontal to the ground as he catches this ball. Now his feet are never going to come down until after a part of his body hits.
Well, he's saying it was not in control of the ball. You can see the ball wasn't firmly in his grasp when he hit the ground. I think that is the call. Let's see from another angle.
Here's another angle. We get a chance to look at it.
Meanwhile, they're going to try a long field goal. This one would be 49 yards by Beecher.
He was in bounds. You're certainly right on that, Dick.
Beecher's kick has not enough distance and was wide as well. And that's the way the first half ends, to the dismay of the Dolphin fans who wanted that play, which would have given Beecher a much better shot at the field goal. End of the first half. Don Shula, second only to George Halas in NFL wins, needing a big win today to go 2-2 on this troubled season, has a 14-0 advantage over the Chiefs. NFL Live halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Monday, Al goes to a monastery.
Where's the little monk's room?
Will he take a vow of silence?
Bite your tongue.
Meet the monk from Melmac, Monday.
He's very entertaining.
Then on Valerie's Family, the boys get girls.
Oh, yeah, that's Janice, the old ball and chain.
But Mark's girl wants Willie.
Having a bear? Make it sound so cute.
Monday.
Beautiful diamonds, exquisite gold, an incredible selection of wedding sets, elegant timepieces, exceptional jewelry design and manufacturing. By far the Valley's largest collection of fine jewelry. Reasons why, for generations, Edmunds Jewelers has been such a brilliant facet in the glitter of Fresno. Edmunds Jewelers, in Fresno's Fashion Fair and at the Fulton Mall.
Doing the job, Bank of America, making things happen, getting things done.
With all that we have to offer, more branches, more versatile ATMs, quick turnaround time on loans, and checking service so good it's guaranteed, it's no wonder that Bank of America is doing the job for more Californians than any other bank.
Doing the job, Bank of America, doing the job.
Casey TV 24 Fresno, now in stereo.
Well, once again, Jack Dolan has walked away from the table and broken off negotiations. This is actually the second or third time that he's done that. We entered into this round of talks expecting to reach an agreement. We were led to believe that if we took free agency off the table and worked within the current system, that we could reach agreement in other areas. Well, we did that on Wednesday. We actually made a proposal in which we would work within the current system of right of first refusal and draft choice compensation. The other areas have not fallen in place. The pension contribution is a big dispute because management is now taking the position that the owners will not have to put any money into the pension plan. They said that the system has worked well for everyone, for the players and for the owners, and that we should work within the system. We have done that. But now they're asking for a drastic departure from tradition. One piece of that would be an entry-level wage scale for players that come into the league, which is a departure. They're asking not to contribute money to the pension plan, which is a departure. They're asking for a 6-year agreement, which in the past has always mirrored the TV contract. Obviously, the players trusted the owners. They trusted their negotiating committee, and they instructed me when I came into this round of negotiations not to let one issue stand in the way of an agreement. Well, the players trusted management, and they have now showed us what we've always suspected, that it was not free agency as a stumbling block. It was really the pension. It was really all the other issues that they have on the table, and they're not willing to address any of the players' concerns. So at this point, I will be communicating with the Board of Player Reps. We will make some decisions probably tomorrow, and we will have an announcement at that time. I'll take any questions that you might have. Yes.
Was this orchestrated, do you think, Gene, that they walked out today so they could announce that there's been postponement of talks during the replacement games?
It's no doubt it was orchestrated. They wanted to walk out yesterday, but obviously we predicted that they would not walk out yesterday. Actually, Dolan did call for a recess yesterday, and he said that he was not taking a recess to go and put a pencil to any of our proposals, but he just needed some time away. So obviously they came here to walk out to test the players once again, to see if we could hold the players together, because there's the same reason he walked out in Philadelphia.
Gene,
how are things different now than they were at this same type of juncture in Philadelphia 2 weeks ago?
Well, in Philadelphia, they used the excuse that if we took free agency off the table, we could reach an agreement. We took free agency off the table, and they're still not reaching agreement in any of the other areas.
But they're saying you didn't take it off the table. They're saying you put it on the table in an unsatisfactory form, aren't they?
Well, what they're saying is our proposal really works within their system. If I could take myself through what we propose, maybe you would understand it a little better. What I propose would be Gene Upshaw playing for the Raiders. I like to use that. That's where I played. Gene Upshaw playing for the Raiders. At the end of my contract, if the Raiders wanted to retain my rights, they would have to offer me 20% increase and guarantee that the first year. Once they did that, they would retain my rights. If they didn't do that, I would be free to negotiate with any team. That would be what we know now as the first refusal. From February 1st through May 15th, Gene Upshaw could shop throughout the league and seek offers. If I received an offer from another club, I would take it back to the Raiders. That offer could be a one-year contract, a multi-year contract, guaranteed or not guaranteed. I would bring that offer back to the Raiders. At that time, the Raiders would make a decision. That decision would be to retain me as a player. If they decided to retain me as a player, they would have to give me what the new club offered, which is just what we have now. If they decided to let me go, they would let me go to a new club, and if I went to the new club, quite naturally the Raiders would be saying, where's my compensation? At that point, the compensation would be determined by what I was making with the Raiders. That's really where we are. If the Raiders decided that they didn't want me,
speaking for the players, after management has walked out of the talks and negotiations have broken off. Back to you, Len.
Okay, Robert Lipside in Virginia. Now the question will be, will the players come back in droves, and is this a calculated move by the owners to force the players to do that? Questions that we will try to foresee what happens this week. We had a break away from some halftime or from some game action. We'll return to more football here on NBC Sports right after this.
The most dramatic series on television returns.
Being an adult American citizen means having the right to make your own choices.
How about murder, Mr. Fredericks? Do you want that right, too?
Objection.
The winner of 5 Emmy Awards.
Have we consummated our deal, Mr. Becker?
I believe that we have.
Opening with an exciting season premiere.
Good.
Thursday, L.A. Law.
Not the color you had in mind? No problem. We'll take care of it. We want you to be happy. Just step back there a little bit. Let me spray some of this stuff on here. There, now tell me what you think of...
When buying carpet, do what smart Valley people do. Come to Mitty's Carpet Barn. Give your home a new look with DuPont Certified Stainmaster by Salem. Mitty's has a full custom drapery department. Purchase Salem carpets at Mitty's and get the job done right. Mitty's Carpet Barn, off Shaw, just east of Levitt's.
Casey TV 24 Fresno, now in stereo.
Not as close as the score the first half here at Joe Robbie Stadium. This the official christening of this magnificent new football structure in South Florida. Miami Dolphins dominating Kansas City much less than 100 yards after losing their starting quarterback Matt Stevens. 14-0 the score at the intermission. Now let's go to New York and NFL Live.
Back in New York, many of you just saw Gene Upshaw live. Earlier live here on NBC Sports, Jack Donlin had his say. Here's some of what he had to report about the talks breaking off.
Thereafter, Gene and I had a short meeting, maybe 10 minutes, in which I asked him if he was really serious about his proposal on the system. I asked him that as well yesterday, and he said he was. And, you know, my opinion at this point in time, there isn't anything else to say.
So we have now heard from both sides. They say there's nothing else to talk about. Free agency, the sticking point. Gene Upshaw tried to articulate how the players have changed their position. The owners are not buying it. So replacement football will continue. How many players will now come back this week? Many have said they were going to wait past this weekend and then come back to work. Now, we will report what the scores are around the league because the owners say these will count towards the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Miami Dolphins at halftime lead the Kansas City Chiefs 14-0, first regular or irregular season game ever at Joe Robbie Stadium. Dallas Cowboys have just taken a field goal and added to their lead. They are now over the Eagles 24-10. That game's in the second quarter. In the third quarter, the Patriots lead the Buffalo Bills 7-0. At halftime, Chicago Bears over the Minnesota Vikings. Score there, 7-0 as well. At halftime in Cleveland, Houston Oilers lead the Cleveland Browns, 7-3 there. St. Louis leading New Orleans Saints 17-6. That game is in the third quarter. Some of you watching the Indianapolis Colts and the Jets. More scoring in the baseball games this week. Colts leading the Jets 3-0. Still no sacks for Mark Gastineau. Green Bay leading Detroit 16-3. That game's in the third quarter. And maybe Tampa Bay will make the Super Bowl in the strike year. They could go 3-1 under Ray Perkins. They lead San Diego 10-0. That's in the third quarter. Gentlemen, your impressions of the football during replacement week number 2?
Well, a little bit disappointed. I think when you look at these games, you expect a few things of professional football players, and one of them is trying to catch a football, which they're having a problem with today. I see guys wide open, the ball's right to them, and they drop the ball. I feel sorry for the quarterbacks.
This week's games disappoint me more than last week's games. You know, I figured that the offenses would have a tough time getting together in a short amount of practice time, and they would gradually improve. But this week, they're dropping more passes, having more fumbles than they did last week.
This is one of those things, Joe, where I think that if you're going to hold a stat, let's take the number of drop passes as opposed to the number that they caught. And I guarantee you the drop passes are going to overshadow them by about 40%. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. It's like they've never seen a football before.
See, that would be pass catching efficiency? Would that be the new stat?
New stat.
Right. It would be pretty weak. All right, well, that's the story here at halftime. People here are not too impressed with replacement football, but on it goes. We shall report, and we will be sending you back to the field in just a minute.
So the first half statistics here in Miami, or in the Miami area, and you see the dismal offense of the Chiefs in the first half with Stevens out, managed only 34 yards rushing and just 4 yards passing, and the Dolphins with a 14-0 lead and could be worse.
Yes, it could be more points on the board against the Chiefs, and certainly the one thing last week in a losing cause, Kansas City Chiefs had 22 first downs to give you an indication that they just are not having that good a day. Defensively, they knew they were undermanned. They are playing a little better perhaps than they did last week, but I think the Dolphins coming off of that loss last week and with a renewed effort this week, playing by far superior football so far in this game.
Well, I think Don Shula and his team felt that they really were the better club in Seattle. I think that was apparent to all of us, and we reported it that way, and yet didn't get out of the Kingdome with a win, and knew that they just had to be a bit more intense today. And I think your point was really an interesting one. That what people forget, it's like, I guess, running your first marathon may take you about 2 months to be able to really run again. That first game took so much out of these players.
It really did, and you play that first game emotionally. You come back and you look forward to that first game and you really pour it all out. Then you not only have to renew that energy, but the physical part of it, you're not in condition for the hitting. Talking to Bob Lundy, the trainer for the Miami Dolphins, and I was talking to him, I said, it seems to me that it was about a 3-week cycle, and he said, that's about exactly what I think it is. It takes you 3 games, really, to begin to come out of that cycle. And actually,
wait a minute, you're telling me that you actually get accustomed to being knocked around and bruised, and your body hardens like a rhino's?
I think during a football season, the body is an amazing piece of machinery, and the body actually hardens to all of that contact. And I've said this before, early in the season, training camp, you come out of there, your body is bruised all over. Later in the year, the same kind of contact, you don't bruise. In fact, I said you could probably take a hammer and go up and down some of these guys late in the year, and they'd say, huh? You hammering on me?
Thank God Conrad Dobler wasn't listening.
Conrad tried that.
We have the 2 touchdowns, nothing really spectacular about them, but just to underscore just how Miami got its 2 touchdowns in that first half. Here's Ricky Isom, his very first NFL carry, good for 6 yards. The rookie from North Carolina State giving Miami a 7-0 lead in the first quarter. And in the second quarter, in newly built Championship Stadium, and of course the hopes for the Dolphins and their fans, certainly that again, Ronald Scott, number 33, going off right tackle behind a solid block from Bailey, Clarence Bailey, to make it 14-0.
Dick, I think it's going to be difficult for Kansas City to come back in this second half. Behind Espinoza, a second-team quarterback who obviously is not experienced in playing in this offense, Homer Smith is going to be reluctant to call some plays that he would have called for Matt Stevens, and I don't see them making the plays defensively to allow them to get back into the game. But this, again, this kind of football, hard to predict. The ball bounces in a funny way when you don't have experienced veteran players on the field, and we've got another half of football to play.
Well, and the truth is it not whether you're talking about the very best veteran team or a replacement team, that emotional factor, that element is so unpredictable. We saw what it did to the Seahawks last week. They had the one big play. It turned the emotions of the game around on that face mask penalty on the punt, and Seattle went on to win.
I don't think I've ever seen a game so clearly defined and the emotion and the flow of the game changed by one play as it was last week. I'm sure we can go back and find one, but it was so obvious that Coach Shula's team was finally taking the upper hand, and that the Seahawks were having their problems, and they were beginning to wear down. And then there was that critical penalty, a chance for Miami to take the ball on the 6-yard line, go into the lead, and instead the ball goes back to Seattle, and they go for the long touchdown. And well, we might see that. That's always the possibility in a game like this. One play can turn the emotion, and I got to guarantee you that Frank Gans has been talking to his troops about miracles during this half, and about the fact that they can't give up. And I don't think you'll see this Kansas City team give up.
Well, you saw just the sprinkling of fans in this colorful stadium, and the disappointment that must be felt by the owner, Joe Robbie. This was to be actually the 2 weeks ago against the New York Giants. Was going to be the regular season opener. It would have been a $2 million gate, sold out against the Super Bowl champions. That game was washed out by the strike, and now the first official home game for the Dolphins, and there might be 30,000 people here.
And they are quiet. This is really a quiet crowd, and this stadium, I believe, is going to be a very noisy stadium because of the way it's constructed.
Fans are a little farther away from the field because it was built to accommodate soccer and baseball, if that should ever materialize. So we're farther away from the sidelines than we would have been at the Orange Bowl or many other football stadia. The kick by Hamrick is short. Miami getting the ball first to open the second half. This is Pete Roth. Roth to the 30, the 35, and to the 37. A good return by the former Northern Illinois star. Ted Nelson, 49, with a tackle.
I talked to Pete Roth yesterday at practice, and the first thing, we just finished talking about that face mask play, and of course he was the fellow who was guilty of that, and he said, was the punter all right? I mean, his first concern was for the player, and he said, boy, he said, my wife just ripped me out on the phone when I talked to her after the game. And he didn't know he was getting a hold of the mask.
He thought he had the jersey.
He thought he had a hold of the jersey. Yep.
First down for Kyle Mackey and the Dolphins with a 14-0 lead as we open this second half. Inside Ronald Scott to about the 42-yard line. You know, Mackey, as he goes back into the huddle, and talking with the Dolphins yesterday, and I'm sure this would be echoed throughout the NFL replacement teams. They said, you know, when it's all over and we're gone, and of course we're living day to day, we don't know what's going to happen. I just wish that I get a chance at least to say hello to Dan Marino, or to say hello before it was all over. Somehow, as a quarterback who admires a great quarterback, I wish that could happen, and realizing that probably won't.
These teams will not pass and shake hands when one comes in and one goes out.
Mackey complete out to the 46 to Taliaferri, and that'll be very near a first down. Harris and Bryant with a tackle.
Dick, I think the other issue that needs to be addressed is what happens on the teams where a number of players have gone into camp. The San Francisco 49ers, who have, what, 11, 12 players in camp, New Orleans Saints, Los Angeles Rams, and
St. Louis,
Dallas. I think there are going to be some real problems, with potential problems. I think if they can get their players into camp, if they start winning right off the bat, I think that kind of time has a way of sorting things out. Players have notoriously short memories. But if they start to lose, then you'll see these problems really escalate.
Well, and half of them are going to lose that first week. Sneaking it for the first down is the quarterback, Mackey, whose idol was Joe Namath.
Let's just follow that with a direct comment from San Francisco. Bruce Colley, Guy McIntyre, two of Joe Montana's linemen out there, said, we question the quarterback and how you can trust him down in the trenches if he's going to walk into camp and leave us here. They were attacked immediately by Bill Walsh, who said, hey, we've been carrying these guys for a long time, already driving a wedge between a lineman and his quarterback, and that's something you don't want to do.
Mackey underneath to Sampleton, and the big tight end all the way to the 41-yard line with a second effort. Blaine Smith and Bob Harris with a saddle, but Sampleton earning some extra yardage. First tight end picked in the 1982 draft, Sampleton.
Sampleton, by the way, one of those players that Shula mentions as being talented enough and physical enough. As you'll observe here, you see him coming across. That's a sneaky little pattern as he comes all the way across from the left side of the line of scrimmage through the area normally occupied by the linebackers to pick up that first down.
From the 41 of the Chiefs,
Home run.
Mackey going long, and interference is the call. Leland Douglas, the intended receiver, and he was interfered with. Carlton Thomas.
Thomas did not look back, and I think if the action had been continuous, he wouldn't have been called for a foul. But I think when the receiver stops and he runs into him here, he denies him the opportunity to go after that football.
Number 92 defense, penalty decline, pass interference, defense.
Okay. Yes, there were two calls, two fouls on the play. One call against Harris at the line holding number 92. That one they waved off. The interference on the end line will bring the ball down to about the 4-yard line, they say.
First and goal, Miami with a 14-0 lead, 12 minutes left in the third quarter. You saw Scott Stankavage, the backup quarterback, giving the signal with the two fists, indicating this is a tight end alignment. I believe they're going with all three tight ends, Sampleton, Smith, and
Triple
David
tights.
Lewis.
Yeah, they call that triple tight, and they'll hammer it at you from that formation.
87 Lewis, just acquired by Miami, was a #1 pick of the Lions 3 years ago. 87, and he looked in great shape as we watched him work out yesterday.
Well, he was cut. The last cut by the Lions has kept himself in shape out in Portland, Oregon, waiting for a call, and finally said, I couldn't wait any longer. I had to go somewhere.
Mackey looking for a tight end and has to throw it away. None was open.
I'm surprised that there wasn't an official looking to maybe throw a flag on Mackey. Obviously thrown away, but Mackey doing a good enough job of acting to get away with that.
In comes 33 Ronald Scott with a play for Mackey. Replaces Taliaferri. So it has been a troublesome year, and that's an understatement. And even if the strike is resolved or it filters back, players filter back, it's not going to be easy for any head coach in the National Football League. Ronald Scott has his second touchdown. Untouched.
Good play as they brought David Lewis, the tight end that was flanked to the left, all the way over to the right-hand side. He threw an excellent block. Got good blocking by the tight end on this side. That's Lawrence Sampleton, number 80. And then the cutback right there by Ronald Scott. I think if it had been a little further, he wouldn't have any trouble going another 10 or 15 yards on that one.
Ricky Isom on the point of attack made a fine block as well, as Willie Beecher from Logan, Utah kicks the extra point, and we have a timeout. Miami takes the kickoff to start the second half and marches to a score. 11:54 remaining in the third quarter. It's now 21-0.
Be right back, Pop.
This Bud's for all that you do.
Hey, Pete, come here. This year?
Hey, my glove. I found out Pop worked overtime to pay for it. He was always knocking himself out to give us something better.
Sounds a lot like you.
Budweiser, the king of beers, salutes everyone who's ever worked for more than just a paycheck.
Thanks. I think that's my line.
This Bud's for you.
Zestfully clean. Zestfully clean. You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
Do I look clean to you? Surprise. I'm not fully clean unless I'm zestfully clean. Soap leaves a sticky film on you that won't rinse away, but Zest rinses you fully clean.
Zestfully, zestfully, zestfully clean. You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
There are those who fervently believe that true perfection is found in the details. At the Bavarian Motor Works, we gave that belief a name. We call it the BMW 735i. Beautiful, to be sure. Yet perhaps the most beautiful thing about it is its spirit.
Today's game is being brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, phone your nearest BMW dealer. And by Liberty Mutual, for your personal insurance, business insurance, and financial service needs. Ronald Scott, his second score today, and it's 21-0 Miami as the Dolphins fans get involved in the wave, and Willie Beecher sets it up for the kickoff. Robert Parker, the deep man, at the 10. On the wing to Steve Griffin, number 39. He shows some speed out to the 34-yard line. And Merlin, of all the qualities, and you can measure them in these replacement teams, you can't measure the heart, but you can measure the fact that players aren't as big, but the one item that stands out most of all is foot quickness and speed.
Speed, I'll tell you, just jumps at you, and when you do find a player with unusual speed on one of these replacement teams, you feel like everybody else is going in slow motion.
From the 34, well, Don Shula's offense delivered an immediate touchdown after the half. Here's the first opportunity for the Chiefs in the second half, and it's Chris Smith taking that little short pass out near midfield, and a solid gain for Kansas City. 16 yards on the play. Johnson and Hobley made the tackle.
We'd introduced Jim Peterzak a little earlier, and I thought he had a great description for a number of the players who are here today. He said, I feel like a rent-a-player.
Yeah, in many ways, that's right. They're going to have to turn those players back in eventually.
Yeah, got to take them back and check them in.
Most of them realize that, and it's kind of tough. They said,
some will go back with a few dings in them, too.
Oh, boy. They'll have some wounds. Espinoza off play action again. Over the middle. And nearly intercepted. He threw it into a crowd, and there goes a late flag. Trell Hooper covering, intended for Eric Brown, who was injured in the first half. That's why we didn't call his name. He was the top receiver for the Chiefs last Sunday with 5 catches, but did not have a reception in the opening half. But apparently all right. That was Brown, the intended target.
A late flag, as you mentioned, Dick, and the officials still trying to sort it out down there.
2 flags, one at the line of scrimmage. Pass interference against Miami.
Illegal formation on the offense.
So they negate one another, and they'll play the down over.
They will go to the down again. Let's look downfield. We will see here the interference, and there was contact before the ball arrived. We will not see the illegal formation. I would imagine that's probably not having enough players on the line of scrimmage, and again, that comes in a situation where you have people unfamiliar with the system.
Trailing 21-0. Up the middle goes Smith. Fumbles the ball. That's going to be a touchdown the other way. Number 29, Lifford Hobley.
Mike Lambrecht, number 69, there to wrap up the ball carrier, and Smith saying, I was on the ground. I was on the ground. I'd like to see the replay because it looked like he was pretty close to being down. Now the ball,
well, from that angle you couldn't tell.
I'll tell you, the ball looks like it comes out late. If we have another angle, I think it would be worth looking at because the ground cannot cause a fumble. You see Smith with the ball here. Watch that football.
Boy, that's tough. You can't.
It's very close to being on the ground. Let's see that one again. Run it back, because I would question, and I think they've stopped play while the officials review that one from upstairs. Maybe we can see that play again. Slow it down a little bit. Let's see where he was when that ball popped loose, because there's no question in my mind that it is a questionable call in sense of timing. Now watch Smith. Watch his buttocks, which is going to hit the ground, and watch for the ball. No, the ball is, well, I'll tell you, that's What we need is irrefutable evidence that the call is wrong. I don't think we have it. Let's look for another angle. We've got one. I think it's a fumble. I think it's a good call. Not by much.
A tough call.
Yeah.
And difficult job of reviewing those tapes.
Instant replay. It is determined that it is a fumble. Touchdown.
Oh, it's 27-0 Miami as Lifford Hobley goes 52 yards. Lambrecht, who won't get much credit, was the man who set the table, ripping the ball free. Beecher adds the extra point, and this day of celebration at Joe Robbie Stadium for those who have attended is all of that for Miami, as they now have a commanding 28-0 lead. All alone, Hobley, 52 yards for the score.
They're going to California for the weekend.
It's a frequent flyer thing. 40,000 miles and they both fly free.
I've got 40,000 miles. We're going to the mall.
Some airlines make you fly nearly 40,000 miles for one free trip. On Northwest, you get 2.
Thank you.
Kent Avery. Big promotion, important project. You're really on the go.
Next step, VP.
But didn't your client just stop you from using her phone?
Oh, minor faux pas.
Once she found out that you were calling Nome, Alaska?
Well, at least I asked.
And you should have used your AT&T card.
Really?
With your AT&T card, almost any phone becomes your phone. Just dial 0 plus the number you're calling, then your card number, and your call is billed to your phone.
Great concept.
To get the AT&T card, dial 1-800-CALL-ATT.
Today, thousands of men share a common desire to be more fit, but many of them also share a common problem. Sensitive skin irritated by shaving. That's why there's AFTA, the rich, good-smelling lotion, clinically proven to soothe razor-scraped sensitive skin so it looks and feels more fit. Use AFTA before you run off to face the world. Sensible care for sensitive skin. AFTA Aftershave Skin Conditioner.
I'm Menon.
Your face takes enough abuse, so you need the Gillette Good News Plus disposable. Its Lubra-Smooth strip is designed to reduce irritation, so shaving feels so good. Good News Plus.
Well, I was at home. I had just gotten a sales job back in Cincinnati. I thought I'd never be able to play NFL football again. But when I got the call from Kansas City Chiefs, I was very happy that I'd be able to play football at least one more time. I know I'd be making at least 4 to 6 times more than what I'd be making now, so I was pretty satisfied. And here I am, ready to play again.
Well, Chris Smith played at Notre Dame. He's on the kickoff return team as well. So that's added money for me, a lot better than I was doing back home in Cincinnati. He had that ball ripped away, and it led to a 52-yard touchdown. Robert Parker aggressively vaulting out to the 34-yard line.
What he will try to do now is to make a play to make up for that fumble. And unfortunately, when you begin to play come from behind football, desperate football, it's fine if you can get the big ones, if you can hit them. If you don't, sometimes the avalanche goes the other direction. Not a pleasant game to have to play, especially without your #1 quarterback.
Now Alex Espinoza down 28-0. 11 minutes left in the third quarter. Baseball to follow. We'll go to Candlestick Park. Game 5. They're tied at 2 each. The Giants and the Cardinals. Out of the backfield, number 41, Woody Pippins, who just joined the squad a couple of days ago from Thiel College in Greenville, Pennsylvania. Let's check the other scores. Dallas still with a big lead. New England boosts its advantage over Buffalo, and the Bears have a touchdown advantage against the Vikes. Houston 10-3 at Cleveland. St. Louis and New Orleans, 2 teams with veteran players. Indianapolis with a field goal lead against the Jets. Detroit and Green Bay in a battle of field goals, and San Diego with 10 points in the third period to tie Tampa Bay. To the near side and complete. A good catch. John Trahan from Southern Colorado. Trell Hooper with a tackle, 10 yards on the play and a first down. Ball comes out to the 48-yard line. Espinoza brings him out of the huddle. As a freshman, he matriculated at Cal State Fullerton, was an Orange County, California high school star, and then went on to Iowa State. Inside to Parker. Leans forward for 2.
Tim Pigeon, inside linebacker. One of the late cuts for Miami in their camp this year, and he calls the defensive signals in there from Tom Olivadotti. I really have to say it, a much improved Miami defense over last week, Dick.
2nd and 8. Espinoza dumps it off, complete. Pippins inside the 45 to the 43 will be a yard shy of first down. Hobley, who played for Coach Bill Arnsparger, and Robert Sowell in on the tackle. There's Sowell, his hometown of Columbus, Ohio, in deep mourning today. And Sowell had that ankle heavily wrapped.
There goes Floyd Ragland onto the field, Dick. He's all these players have things to go back to. This is his last game as he gets a chance to play. He's an actor. He's worked in the HBO series First and 10. Last Monday night was on Cagney and Lacey. But right now, he's looking to be on the set at 6:45 tomorrow morning. Warner Brothers, Los Angeles.
Oh, another fumble caught in the air. Trell Hooper, 40, 30, 20. Hooper scores.
Well, I think the way Floyd Ragland will remember this is that he went into the game and good things happened as Hooper able to get away. Ragland gets a block, actually, and helps on this play. Palmer trying to make the giant play when none are there. Watch number 24, Ragland getting a chance to get out in front here. He'll throw the block right there on Espinoza. Oh, grabbed him and tackled him.
He just wanted to be sure. Any good actor wants to be sure of his line.
A good actor wants to do it right, I'll tell you.
It is 35-0, and this has become a nightmare for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ragland will be talking about that on the set tomorrow. Yes, I did throw that block. I got him in there for the touchdown.
8:27 left in the third quarter. A couple fumbles, return for touchdowns, and Miami has exploded it.
Junction Boulevard backed up 5-6 blocks. Rubbernecking delays have traffic backed out about halfway to the interchange southbound, and it's stop and go.
Contrary to popular belief, there are millions of miles of roads totally unfettered by traffic. And one car that will inspire you to get up earlier to find them. The new BMW 325i. With 39% more power than its predecessor, it has the singular ability to bring a whole new meaning to the expression, rush hour.
And it's stop and go northbound all the way.
You give your all to all you do. Don't settle for less from your shampoo. Wash and go Pert Plus.
Ordinary shampoo can't give you this kind of manageability. You need Pert Plus, with a unique combination of effective shampoo for cleaning, plus conditioner for control, all in one. For great, easy-to-manage hair, it's one of a kind.
Just one shampoo does it all for you. Wash and go.
With shampoo, conditioner in one.
Pert Plus.
Why is this man breathing like he left his cold at someone else's house? Taking the time to read a book instead of reaching for a tissue. Relaxing in his favorite chair with muscles that no longer ache. Laughing instead of coughing. Resting instead of suffering. Why? Because instead of taking a cold tablet, he took NyQuil. A nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching stuff he had fever so you can rest medicine. Now in new cherry flavor, too.
Next Sunday, the NFL plays here when the Dolphins battle the Jets.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
That looks tame enough, 3-0, but 2 of the 3 have led to touchdowns. 52 yards by Hobley, 56 yards by Trell Hooper. And while we were away, this crowd, however small, tremendously enthusiastic and support of these replacement players for the Dolphins. That's Joe Robbie's executive box. Beecher to Parker, who fumbled that last play. And Parker hammered at the 27-yard line by Hobley. We have more football next weekend here on NBC. Here's our lineup. Miami and the Jets, Seattle, Detroit, Cleveland, Cincinnati, New England, Houston, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh are the early games. And our doubleheader, San Diego and the Raiders. Merlin and I will be at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, and Kansas City will be hosting Denver. An NBC doubleheader next Sunday.
Chanting for the defense. How long has it been since you heard those chants, and how long has it been since you've seen Miami's defense put 2 touchdowns on the board in a single game?
In a single quarter.
In a single quarter, absolutely.
Meanwhile, Dallas has scored again. Tony Dorsett, a 10-yard run, and they lead Philadelphia 34-10 down at Texas Stadium. Third quarter.
Well, there's someone who's very happy. Tom Oligodati, standing close to Shula. I imagine that when things don't go well, that defensive coordinator tends to separate himself from the head coach.
That cord on the phone line isn't long enough.
Well, I'd say you'd like a seat in the stands when it's Shula that's walking along beside you.
The rarity of this third quarter for Miami is that the first 3 possessions, regardless of the team that had the ball, led to Miami touchdowns. Miami came out at the intermission, took the kickoff, marched to downfield, 64 yards in 6 plays. Then Kansas City had the ball. Hobley fumbled. Miami taking it for a touchdown. Kickoff. Kansas City fumbles again, and Hooper goes 56 yards for the touchdown.
Not the kind of thing you'd like to remember, especially if you're a Kansas City Chief. This one will go down very bitterly.
Man open, Trahan, but Ragland comes over, or is it Hobley? Hobley, his second interception to go with a fumble for a touchdown. And Lifford Hobley, the only player on either team, veteran player, to cross the picket lines, has had a field day.
Hobley came in, I think, with the feeling that he needed to cement an opportunity to stay on the roster. He's been cut 4 times. Once by Pittsburgh, once by the Cardinals, then twice by the Miami Dolphins. Well, I think he's shown some class here today in the way he's played, but again, you've got to remember he's one of the regular team, and he's the only one on either squad that is on the field today.
Leading 35-0, and the Dolphin fans want more. Ronald Scott, who has a couple of touchdowns, fights his way to the 35-yard line. Lloyd Mumphrey from Mississippi Valley State, number 91, made the tackle. It was a tough call, as it has been for all the veteran players, and Hobley saying, you know, I'm right on the borderline anyway, and I have one baby and another one on its way, and I just have to go earn a paycheck. And the players said, well, we'll loan you the money, the veteran players. He said, but I still got to pay it back.
That's right. I think they're going to see a lot of players forced to look at the economic realities before the early part of this next week is out.
Gary Moten, 53, made the tackle on Ronald Scott. There's Moten from SMU, was a 7th-round pick of the 49ers 4 years ago.
We just get word, Dick, that the last time that the Dolphins scored twice on defense, 1983. That's been a while back.
First down. Mackey, plenty of time. Taliaferro could not work himself free, covered by Trent Bryant. We understand that with this game, a rather obvious Dolphin win, and the Jets-New England game being much more competitive, at sometime soon we're going to be switching part of our NBC Sports Network to that other game.